everybody, this is the Wikstrand. Up until 1992, when I sat down to watch this movie on opening night nonetheless, I was under the impression that adaptations of other properties ultimately was good. Because the longer the runtime was, the more you got of it and the better it was. You stupid fucking idiot. So, up until this point, I had never seen something that was truly awful. I'd never seen anything that I thought was truly horrible. I had seen stuff that I didn't think was quite as good as other things. But this was one of the first occasions, if not the first occasions, when a filmmaker was making something that I had grown up with. Because I had grown up with Tom and Jerry and their violent slapstick and antics, and I loved it so much that I thought this is going to be the greatest movie of the entire calendar year of 1992. Nope, it was not going to be. And I was sitting there watching this movie and thought, this is not very good. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt a chill of horrible realization when Tom and Jerry spoke. When Tom and Jerry spoke, a little bit of my soul died. And I left the movie theater realizing that movies could be bad. Not all movies are good. And the realization of that sank into myself, and for some reason I never quite gotten over it. This is one of the single worst adaptations of anything I have ever seen, and I'm really struggling to come up with something to compare this with. Let's just review, shall we, Tom and Jerry the movie, the first but sadly not the last attempt of creating a feature-length film of the world's most famous cat and mouse duo. Hit the intro, man! So Tom and Jerry the movie takes the approach when it comes to adaptations that we have our characters, but we're going to change locations for them because Tom's owners are moving, but he gets left behind, so he's, roaming around the city with Jerry. By the way, we never get to see Tom's owners again, so I guess they got a new cat and, mourned the loss of Tom for a bit, but then got over it or something like that. I don't know. It's not important. What is important is that this movie didn't begin that good. We had some, okay slapsticks, but it was not the usual standard that Tom and Jerry has in their slapsticks. But we did have a couple of, occasions where we had some nice atmosphere when Tom and Jerry are, just considering, are they gonna stick together or are they gonna split apart? And this is the only part of the movie that really actually works. Why? Well, the problem with this movie shows up after, I don't know, 10-15 minutes or something like that. Right out of the blue, they start talking. Tom and Jerry do not talk. The entire purpose of a Tom and Jerry cartoon is that they are silent and they, kick the ever-loving shit out of each other with, loathsome various forms of horrible violence. That is funny. But not only can they talk, they won't shut the fuck up. And not only won't they shut the fuck up, they sing too. And not just, one song. A lot of songs. The songs are just coming and coming and coming and coming and coming, and they are horrible. A disemboweled cat would probably sound more pleasing to the ears than these fucking songs. And not Tom, that is, a different cat. Just making sure that you understand that bit. The problem is also that they're singing about how they're not going to be enemies anymore. That's the entire point of the fucking cartoon. So the chatterbox versions of Tom and Jerry are now roaming the city looking for a plot, and they find one because from out of nowhere comes the kiss of death for this movie. Robin, she's an orphan. So now we're going to have this fucking story about this fucking orphan trying to find her fucking father that looked like the Wish version of fucking Indiana Jones who flies a helicopter but you don't know anything else about him. Anyway, so that is the plot of the movie. And you know, we have her aunt and confidant, boyfriend, husband or whatever it is that, you know, she's worth a lot of money to them, so they move in with them. But then we're gonna have some chasing, you know, with the this weird sea captain and his fucking sock puppet who also sings about, you know, what he does and all that stuff. And we also have Dr. Lickboot or whatever he was called, this weird guy, you know, on the ice cream cycle, and his two henchmen who kidnaps pets and stuff like that. What the fuck is this movie about, really? Oh, I will say this. The weird looking aunt and her confidant, husband, boyfriend, whatever he is, at least had the decency of delivering the only true great line in the entire movie. We've got to have money. That was great. That was truly great. Everything else in this movie sucks, and sucks hard. I mean, we have talking Tom and Jerry. Oh no! And we have all the songs. Oh no! And we have the weird thing about the orphans. Oh no! But most important, we don't care. We don't care? Well, that is the OS of oh no's. Damn right it is. So, while the animation is decent, and while there are a couple of small little glimpses of a okay slapstick Tom and Jerry thing, it is not, you know, done by Tom and Jerry, but, you know, the fat dog on the skateboard. I don't care about the fat dog on the skateboard because I have never seen him before. He does a pretty good Gollum impression, but that's really about it. The movie's snail's pace and assault to my ears with their never-ending boring songs about who is everybody are and what their motivations are. It grinded me down and I was just, let this movie end, please. There is a wild chase in this one that could have been fun, but for some reason didn't work. I don't know what else to say. Trying to make Tom and Jerry into a feature-length film was a bad idea from the start and was doomed to fail, yet they have tried again and again and again and again. I don't know if it is possible to make Tom and Jerry work as a feature-length film. I'm really sad they tried, and I'm even sadder that they have kept trying. Despite the years that has passed since this movie was released, I've never truly gotten over it. And I still hate this movie, and whenever it, you know, is brought up in conversations, which is very, very rarely, by the way, I always get, God damn it, this movie. And it doesn't deserve better than 3 points. Decent animation and 1 or 2 great slapsticks and an almost okay chase cannot save this from being one of the most ill-conceived animated movies that I've ever seen. Not the worst animated movies I've ever seen, but one of them. Is there a movie that Tom and Jerry has been in that has actually been really good? I have